and probably a fun fact on me is that I like to read. Like I like to read. That's a lost art nowadays. Oh, my great uncle is Jesse Owens. He won 4 gold medals in 1936.
I always want to leave people with this, man, to all the viewers and everybody out there, man. Make sure you guys finish your story. Make sure you guys finish your journey because somebody's going to need it.
Yeah. All you got to do is push the back button. That's all you got to do is push the back signal.
Try not to think about the future too much so you can maximize the now.
Who's your favorite rap artist?
Man, to be honest, it's crazy. Tupac always been my number one, right? Like he got me through so much stuff, but Lil Wayne has been in the modern day.
I said, what does it really take? What does it really take to be great, Drew? And he looked at me and he was like, you really want to know? And he was like, to be honest, everything you did to get here, you need to be consistent times 10.
Good morning, every day. How you doing? It's your boy, Coach Lee. Happy football Sunday to you. Yeah, guess what? We pre-recorded today, but you're still going to get the same insight and value and knowledge as always. We're back at it like we're mad at it, man. Let's get up in here and get your setups and get your lineups and situated. Hopefully you don't win against me today, but whoever you playing against is valuable information to help you out. But as always, Fantasy Football Insight Show, sponsored to you by STWF TV. That's how we do things, man. So we're going to just jump right into it today, right off the bat. Yeah, my team don't play today, but we still handle business on Thursday. Yeah, I hear it. Y'all ain't beat nobody over 500. Yeah, we play whoever is on the schedule. It's that simple. See y'all Thursday night, though. But anyhow, man, let's get up in here with the injury updates for today. Got a slew of them. That time of the year, man, people getting beat up, hurt. And got some people coming back, but some people you may not have a chance with. But the biggest one right off the bat, man, and this probably hurt a couple of people, not only in the fantasy world, but just in general, man. So that's before we get it going, let's get this going. Sponsored to you by STWF TV. Yes. So right off the bat, man, we got our boy Joe Burrow. He is out. Probably safe to say we kind of saw this coming. No, he came into the in the season with the calf injury. He wasn't really healthy. Now he's out for the rest of the year with a torn ligament in his wrist. So that's a big one, and that's actually something to keep an eye on, man. I'm not gonna say he's injury prone, but he's definitely having his fair share of them. So it's something just to look out for. But quick recovery to you. What do they call him? Sneaky Joe Shady, someone sort. But shout out to you, Joe Burrow, man. Hope you get back next year and you're ready to rock and roll. Taylor Heineke, he has a hamstring. He's questionable Sunday. So guess who may be coming back? Desmond Ridder, who was benched in place of him as they face the Saints this week. So we're gonna see how that happens. I'll probably say monitor it. Probably safe to say that Ridder is going to be returning to the starting role. So yeah, that is what it is. Jaron Hall, he's concussion protocol. The quarterback who was supposed to replace Kurt Warner. Kirk Cousins. He's supposed to replace Kurt, but he got concussed in the first game, and Dobbs may be the quarterback of the future for that franchise. But he's out. He did practice all week, but it has been a 2-game absence. But is he back? Would I start him? Probably not. Roll with Dobbs. He's got a stronghold on that position. Our running backs. Pierce is questionable for the game against the Jags with an ankle injury. Rashad White is questionable with the knee injury as the Bucks go against the Colts. Kareem Williams, he was activated from injury reserve on Saturday, but he doesn't have an injury designation as of today. But more than likely, they're still going to roll with Royce Freeman. Deontay Foreman ankle injury is doubtful for the Monday night game against the Vikings. The Bears. Why the Bears keep ending up on TV? Well, yeah. So I'll probably say roll with Rashawn Johnson, who's in the number 2 role. Mario DiMercado of the Cardinals. He's questionable, has a toe injury. As you know, those can linger. If you ever had turf toe before, they can last for a long time. He did practice in limited fashion this week, and he's expected to play, but he's likely to be slotted as a primary backup for James Conner and in front of Keontae Ingram. Jerick McKinnon of the Chiefs, he's out for the game against the Raiders. He's got a groin injury, so roll with Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Pacheco. Kendre Miller of the Saints is out for the game against the Falcons with the ankle injury. So in his absence, Jamal Williams will see a boost in snaps and touches behind Kamara. Wide receivers. This is probably the biggest one everybody's been waiting on. That's JJ. Questionable with the hamstring injury for Monday night's game against the Bears. He was held out Monday. And then for right now, KJ Osborne and Brandon Powell will continue to be the number 2 and number 3 spot wideouts, respectively. Jordan Addison has slid into JJ's absence as number 1. T. Higgins' hamstring remains out for Sunday's game against the Steelers. He missed practice all week, so yeah, safe to say he's not playing for sure. Tyler Boyd and Trent Irwin will be the number 2 and number 3 receivers. Odell Beckham Jr. of the Ravens, shoulders questionable. How many games has he even played this year? Well, he's questionable for today's game against the Chargers. He did work his way back into full practice on Friday. And he started the week with a Wednesday absence and limited Thursday session. And if he comes back, he's probably going to be the top choice. As you know, Mark Andrews is out for the rest of the year with the ankle injury. Marquise Hollywood Brown with the heel is questionable for today's game against the Rams. Zay Flowers' hip is questionable for today's game against the Chargers. It seemed like you play in Baltimore, it's probably pretty safe to say you probably, unfortunately, if you're in skill position, rather, possibility of injury. It just can't stay healthy up there for whatever reason. The Falcons' Mac Hollins' ankle is out for today against the Saints. He missed the last 2 practices, and he was limited on Wednesday. So you're going to roll with Kadero Hodge, filling as a number 3 role. Zay Jones of the Jags, knee is questionable for today's game against the Texans. He practiced on limited fashion all week. He played 43 snaps last week in his return from a 4-game absence with a knee injury. Tim Jones will slide back into the number 3 role. Devontae Parker, concussion protocol is questionable for today's game against the Giants. Devontae Parker of the Patriots practiced in limited fashion all week. If not, it will be his 3rd straight absence. So Demario Douglas, who posted a career high 6 catches for 84 yards against the Colts in Germany in Week 10, will serve as the number 1 receiver. And Juju Smith-Schuster will fill the number 2 role. Gotcha. Michael Wilson of the Cardinals, shoulders out for Sunday's game against the Rams. He missed practice all week as well. Noah Brown of the Texans, knee remains out for today's game against the Jags. Robert Woods and John Mechie are expected to remain as the number 3, number 4 receivers. Traylon Burks of the Titans, concussion remains out. A lot of concussions this year. Remains out for today's game against the Panthers. He missed practice all week. So in his absence, Nick Westbrook, Ekine, Chris Moore, and Cal Phillips will be the beneficiaries of a varying degree. Darius Slayton of the Giants, Nick, is doubtful for Sunday's game against the Patriots. He did finish the week with 2 limited practices after he missed on Wednesday. In his absence, Wan'Dale Robinson and Jalen Hyatt should serve as the top 2 wideouts. Jalen Guyton of the Chargers, groin. It's another franchise where they can't stay healthy, but particularly at the receiver position. He's questionable for today's game against the Ravens. So likely rookie Darius Davis will be back into the number 4 receiver role at a minimum. Marquise Goodwin of the Browns, concussion, remains out for today's game for the Broncos after missing practice all week. So you're going to slide in there with David Bell, and shout out to the DFW's own James Prochet. That sure the receiver dude is in his absence. Darius Toney, ankle, is out for Sunday against the Raiders. Even though he had a practice in a full week, in the absence, Richie James serves as the number 5 receiver spot. I think he's probably going to find his way out of Kansas City. They traded for him last year at the trade deadline. I know he made an impact play in the Super Bowl for them. Good for him, but he's just so inconsistent. McCole Hardman of the Chiefs as well. He was put on injury reserve on Sunday, so he's at least out for the next 4 games at a minimum. In his absence, Richie James should see more action. That name keeps popping up. Zach Pascal of the Cardinals, hamstring is questionable for today's game against the Rams. He practiced in a limited fashion all week. If he can't suit up, Greg Dortch should come in as a number 3 receiver role. Ben Skowronek, hip injury, is questionable for today's game against the Cardinals of the Rams after practicing in a limited fashion as well all week. But he's a number 5, so they may change up their lineups altogether, or their packages, so to speak. Quez Watkins of the Eagles, hamstring is questionable for today's game against the Bills. He practiced in a limited fashion all week. He's been out for the last 5 games, and he was activated from the injury reserve. So that's part of the reason why they went out and got Julio Jones, and he's in at the number 3 receiver role while he's sidelined. Tight ends, Dallas Goedert. That forearm injury that he suffered against Dallas a couple of weeks ago. He still remains out for today's game against the Bills. He missed practice all week. In this combination, they've been running with Jack Stoll and Albert Okwuegbunam is expected to divvy up the tight end snaps for Philly. So like the likes of DeAndre Swift, AJ Brown, Devontae Smith could see some extra targets as a result of Goddard being out. This one probably hurt the most for a franchise right now. Mark Andrews, that I spoke about earlier, got injured last week with the hip drop tackle, which the league is looking into. He's placed on injury reserve on Saturday. More than likely, it's season ending. So guess who's going to slide in there? Isaiah Likely, the second-year pro. He showed a lot of promise last season in his absence in a couple of games that he took, for Andrews being out last year. But he's going to be the top pass catching option because, as I said earlier, Zay Flowers, Beckham, Justice Hill, Keaton Mitchell, they all should get some targets, but on a limited basis. Gerald Everett's chest injury of the Chargers, the tight end, he's questionable for today's game against the Ravens. Hayden Hurst of the Panthers, concussion, remains out for Sunday's game against the Titans after he missed practice all week. So in his absence, Tommy Trumbull is projected to serve as a tight end versus Tennessee, while Ian Thomas slots in the number 2 role. Andrew Ogletree of the Colts, the tight end, his foot is out for Sunday's game against the Bucks. And his absence, Keelan Granson. Grant Calcaterra of the Eagles, ankle is out for Sunday's game against the Bills. And just on the defensive side of the ball, I know some people have leagues where they have defensive players in there. Overall, how it might affect your defense. Tyson Campbell hamstring is out today against the Texans of the Jags. The Ravens, Marlon Humphrey, calf is questionable against the Chargers. The Saints, Marshawn Lattimore, ankle was placed on injury reserve Saturday, so he's out for the next 4 games. Denzel Ward of the Browns is out for Sunday's game against the Broncos with the shoulder. See. CJ Henderson of the Panthers, concussion, is out for Sunday game against the Titans. From a safety standpoint, Terrell Edmonds of the Titans is questionable. Marcus Epps of the Raiders with a neck is questionable against the Chiefs. The Steelers, Minka Fitzpatrick, hamstring is out for Sunday's game against the Bengals. The Texas, Jimmy Ward, hamstring is out for Sunday's game against the Jags. On the D line, Max Crosby. I was looking forward to this. He's doubtful for the game, the big game against the Chiefs today. But as of last night, he plans to try to play despite also dealing with an illness. So he's definitely banged up. The Giants, Dexter Lawrence, hamstring is doubtful for the game against the Patriots. Dietrich Weiser of the Patriots, shoulder injury is questionable. Linebackers, Devin White of the Bucks is questionable with the foot injury against the Colts. Also, the Bucks, Levante David, groin is out for the game against the Colts. And that's pretty much it on the defensive side of the ball. So we're going to take a very quick break. We're going to come back and we're going to do the start 'em and sit 'em. So as always, hold on to your butts. Be back by 15:20.
Hey, what's going on, man? It's cornerback Delvin Breaux here from your favorite team, New Orleans Saints. I just want to go ahead on and give a shout out to STWF Media for allowing me to come on and talk about my testimony, my story, and also talk fantasy football. I just want to say thank you, man, for the honor. I appreciate you, man. Y'all make sure y'all tune in tonight at 7:30 Central Time. Bro Show out.
And welcome back to STWF TV, Fantasy Football Inside Show. Appreciate you hanging out with your boy, Coach Lee, this morning. We just went through all of the injury reports, so hopefully that helps you get your lineup set straight. Next up, as always, we have the much-awaited Start 'em or Sit 'em. Yes, sir, we do. When the beat start going, they pull it out pull a rub underneath you. But as always, right off the bat, we've got Isaiah Pacheco is the start of the week this week. He looks good against the Eagles, despite Philly having the number one run defense in the NFL. They've allowed the fewest points to opposing running backs this season. He still managed 19 carries for 89 yards. Let's see. So as he's going up against the Raiders today, he should be able to handle his business. Because he did his thing. Was that Thursday night, I think? No, Monday night. Whenever they played. So that's the start of the week. For the quarterbacks to start, yeah. These from Thursday night. So CJ Stroud, of course, the rookie, is on a tear. He's facing Jacksonville. I still say that the Houston Texans are going to win this division. They're actually showing a lot of promise. They're ahead of the timetable, and the new coaching system have hit the ground running, and he's in MVP consideration. Definitely already got the Offensive Rookie of the Year award showed up. But CJ Stroud should handle his business. The probably the other story of the year, Joshua Dobbs. He got traded right before the season started. He got traded to Arizona, held them afloat over there until Kyler Murphy came back. Then got traded to Minnesota to serve as a backup. Had to come in under the emergency as an emergency starter, and he proceeded to handle business. So he's going up against Chicago today. So he's a starter of the week to have a big day. So ride that, ride that young man. Pause. But a 3-game streak of scoring at least 26.9 fantasy points. While it ended on against Denver, still jump on that bandwagon with them. And he should be able to produce for you going up against Chicago. On the other side of that, you got Justin Fields, like he's finally healthy, back from that thumb injury. So he came back after a 4-game absence. He had a strong performance. He went 16 to 23, 169 yards in the tub, and he had 18 carries for 104. If you remember him from last year, he took that rock. So Justin Fields is the starter of the week. Our sleepers that we have, the aforementioned Kyler Murphy going up against the Rams. He seems all the way back from last year's torn ACL. He's running all over the place again. Baker Mayfield going against Indianapolis, the Colts. He struggled last week in San Fran, but it's San Fran. But And prior to that, he had put up at least 22.3 fantasy points week over week. So he should be back in the form going up against Indy today. Speaking of Indy, Gardner Minshew are going against Tampa Bay. He has a chance for a big game against the Bucks. As we mentioned, they've got two of their top linebackers out, so the middle of the field should be wide open. Quarterbacks to sit: Trevor Lawrence, Sunshine, man. He's I don't know. He looked good a little bit last year, but considering all the hype he's been getting since he got into college, say he ain't produced that right now. So he's going up against Houston, but he is a sit. Um, he had his best game of the season against the Titans, but they don't think he's going to have that much success against Houston. Russ is not expected to cook this week. He's going up against the vaunted Cleveland defense. Obviously, he's passed for more than 200 yards in Week 11 against Minnesota. It's the first time he did that since Week 4, but he didn't put up a lot of points, 16.5 fantasy points. So going against Cleveland, not much success. Matthew Stafford going against Arizona. The matchup against the Cardinals is actually great for Stafford, but he's still only worth starting in Superflex and 2 quarterback leagues. I think the best days of his productivity are behind him. Doesn't have he might not have Cooper Kupp with the ankle injury, and he only has 1 game this season with more than 20 fantasy points. So yeah. Let's see. Running backs. Kyron Williams. He is the running backs to start this week against Arizona. Ramondre Stevenson. He scored at least 13.2 PPR points in 4 of his past 5 games. Should have another productive week this week going up against the Giants. Jerome Ford, he stepped in admirably since Nick Chubb went down early in the season. He's proven to have a safe floor of at least 11 PPR points, which he's hit 5 out of the last 6 games. Gus Edwards of the Ravens going up against the Chargers. Our sleepers for the week: Jalen Warren, running back of the Steelers. Ty Chandler of Minnesota. Samaje Perine of Denver. I don't know about that one. I had to cut him early in the year. He wasn't doing much for me. Running backs to sit. Let's see. James Cook going up against Philly. They really don't use a running back that much in Buffalo anyway. James Conner going up against the Rams. And then the bust alert, Javonte Williams going up against Cleveland as well. Wide receivers to start: Michael Pittman going against Tampa Bay. Adam Thielen going against Tennessee. Devontae Smith up against Buffalo. Nico Collins going against Jacksonville. Kristen Kirk going up against Houston. Our sleepers: Zay Flowers going against the Chargers. Demario Douglas going against the Giants. Rashid Shaheed of the Saints going against Atlanta. Wide receivers is set: Amari Cooper against Denver. Jerry Jeudy against Cleveland. Marquise Hollywood Brown against the Rams. And the bust alert: Devontae Adams against Kansas City. Wow. Tight ends to start: Trey McBride of Arizona against the Rams. Evan Ingram of the Jags against Houston. David Njoku of Cleveland against Denver. Our sleepers: Taysom Hill, Big Play Tay, as Unc likes to call him, going up against Atlanta. Cade Oden of the Bucks going against Indy. And this guy here, is it safe to say this dude's a bust? It could be because of the quarterback play, but still, if you're as tired as he was coming into the league, you should still be able to make up for it. And that's one Kyle Pitts of the Falcons going against New Orleans. He's a tight end to sit this week. Tyler Conklin of the Jets going up against Miami. Actually, I think they already played this week. My apologies. Bust alert: Now, we gave him all the hype earlier because he's coming in for Mark Andrews, but they got him as a bust alert going up against the Chargers. That's Isaiah Likely. There's a big opportunity, the great matchup in Week 12 against the Chargers. But they say they're not ready to trust him as a starter yet. I'm gonna go the other way. I think he's gonna be decent. I don't think he's gonna be a bust. Sleeper defenses: the Broncos, the Patriots, and the Saints. I don't know about the Saints with Lattimore being put on IR. Defenses to set the Jags against Houston. And I do you a solid this week. We're gonna go over the kickers as well. Kickers to start: Mac Prater of the Cardinals. Sleeper kickers: Blake Group of the Saints, Will Lutz of the Broncos, Greg Joseph of the Vikings. Kicker to sit: Daniel Carlson of the Raiders. So yeah, we went through the injury report, start them and sit them. Hopefully this helps you get your lineup set up. And guess what? Today, you got a whole hour to figure it out. So as the injuries are updated, make sure you're trialing whatever apps you like to follow. Make sure you're hanging out. If you're in the group, hang out in the group because they're going to be posting it in there about who's in and who's out as well. If you're not in the group, shame on you. You need to be a part of the community. But with that being said, it's your boy, Coach Lee. I appreciate you hanging out with me this morning. This is the STWF TV's Fantasy Insights Show. See y'all tomorrow on the Play Call Sheet. Deuce.
Find this podcast and others on STWF TV, the podcasting network, wherever you get podcasts.